41 people have been arrested and taken into ICE custody after a sex trafficking raid at a strip club in Dallas.
America, we just witnessed what real law enforcement looks like when you stop playing politics and start protecting communities. Federal agents from Homeland Security Investigations, backed by ICE, Dallas Police, Texas DPS, U.S. Marshals, and even the IRS Criminal Investigation Division just crushed a suspected human trafficking operation at a Dallas strip club. 41 arrests, $30,000 in cash seized, and a criminal enterprise shut down. But here's what's really shocking. At least 5 of these individuals have extensive criminal histories, including one guy who illegally entered the United States 10 times.
WFAA just obtained new information about last week's raid at a strip club in Dallas. Homeland Security officials tell us ICE agents arrested 41 people at the Chicas Bonitas Cabaret off Harry Hines.
What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This is exactly what we voted for. No more catch and release, no more games, no more treating human trafficking like another administration violation. The gloves are completely off. Let me break down exactly what happened at Chicas Bonitas Cabaret on Harry Hines Blvd, because this operation shows you the difference between serious federal action and weak failed policies that we've been dealing with for years.
Well, yeah, Chris, it was this strip here off Harry Hines where local, federal, and state officials arrested 41 people. It happened, like you said, at this strip club behind me, Chicas Bonitas. But what led officials here to begin with was suspected human trafficking.
This wasn't a random sweep. This was a coordinated operation based on criminal search warrants for human trafficking and illegal employment. When you see Homeland Security Investigations, ICE, Dallas Police Department, Texas DPS, U.S. Marshals, and the Texas Alcohol and Beverage Commission, and the IRS Criminal Investigation Division all working together, you got some serious problems. The results speak for themselves. 41 arrested, $30,000 in cash seized, business records confiscated, and a suspected human trafficking operation shut down. 29 of those arrested were illegally working at this establishment. This is what happens when you have leadership that actually enforces the law instead of making excuses.
Now, according to ICE, this bust happened last Friday. 41 people, including 29 suspected of working in the club, were taken into custody by ICE officials for immigration violations. Now, during the raid, officials also seized $30,000 in business records.
The neighboring business owner described the scene. I heard about raids like that, but I didn't expect this. There were so many armed men and women, and it was quite frightening. Good. That is exactly the kind of response human traffickers should fear. The car dealer next door said the helicopters got his attention first. Then he saw the entire area, about 3/4 to a full acre, filled with police cars, SWAT vehicles, and unmarked vehicles, all with their lights on. This is what serious law enforcement looks like. Now let's talk about who they caught, because this is where it gets really interesting and really infuriating. At least 5 of these individuals have extensive criminal history. Go figure that. I'm talking about serious crimes, not administration violations like the open border crowd wants you to believe. Based on the pattern that we're seeing in similar operations, we're looking at repeat offenders who should have been permanently removed from our country years ago. These are people who have been gaming our broken immigration system while committing crimes against American communities.
Of course, heard about raids like that, but I didn't expect the ferocity of it. There were so many armed men and women that it was quite frightening.
ICE says they're still processing those who've been taken into custody, but they've already confirmed that at least 5 individuals have prior criminal convictions. Operations like this, we typically see patterns of assault, drug trafficking, DUIs, and other violent crimes. Now, here's what really gets me fired up. In similar cases, we've seen individuals who illegally entered the United States multiple times. Some of these individuals have rap sheets that include aggravated assault, drug possession, DUIs, and other serious crimes. These aren't people seeking a better life. These are criminals exploiting our broken immigration system. The fact that these individuals were able to operate a suspected human trafficking ring while having a criminal history shows you exactly what's wrong with our immigration enforcement. Under the previous administration, under Joey Biden, these people would have been released into American communities with the notice to appear that they never honor. Now let's talk about what this operation represents, because human trafficking isn't just about immigration. It's about the exploitation of vulnerable people for profit. When you have the IRS Criminal Investigation Division involved, that means means that there was money laundering included in this operation. When you need SWAT teams and U.S. Marshals, that means that these people were absolutely dangerous. HSI Dallas suspect the club housed a sex trafficking operation, and they were working to identify potential victims. This is the part that should make every American's blood boil. Vulnerable people, many of them brought here illegally, being exploited by criminal organizations.
Homeland Security Investigations agents swept into Chicas Bonitas Cabaret on Harry Hines last Thursday. ICE officers arresting 41 undocumented migrants, saying 29 of them worked inside the club illegally. Right next door at Global Cars, a car dealer said the helicopters first got his attention.
The $30,000 in cash they seized, that's just what they found on the premise. I guarantee you this operation was generating a lot more money than that, and I guarantee you none of it was being reported to the IRS. That's why you need federal tax investigators involved in this operation. When federal agents seize business records in an operation like this, they're building a case that goes far beyond people being arrested. They're tracking down where the money flows to identify other locations and mapping out the entire criminal network. This operation involved multiple agencies because human trafficking is serious business. These criminal organizations don't just exploit people, they launder money, evade taxes, violate liquor licenses, and create entire ecosystems of illegal activity. Now let's address the elephant in the room here, the business impact. A neighboring car dealer mentioned that his predominantly Hispanic customer base has slowed down since raids, saying that they're afraid that they're going to get deported.
ICE says they're still processing those taken into custody, but they can say right now at least 5 of the individuals that they've arrested do have prior criminal convictions.
Here's my response to that. If you're here legally, you have absolutely nothing to fear. These operations target criminals and people who are here, guess what? Illegally. If your customer base is afraid of ICE raids, that tells you something about the legal status of your customer base, doesn't it? The car dealer said the strip club had tight security and were good neighbors. Really? Good neighbors don't run human trafficking operations. Good neighbors don't employ people illegally. Good neighbors don't create environments where federal agents need to conduct armed raids.
There's no one to buy anything. No one's doing anything. And they're not going to buy a car if there's a fear that they might be deported.
Let's be clear about something. Every single person arrested in this operation was taking a job from an American citizen or legal immigrant. Every dollar that business made was built on illegal labor and criminal activity. Every day this operation continued was another day that human trafficking victims suffered.
We usually have a lot more walk-in customers, but it's just no one's coming around this area. We don't know the extent of it because it's only been a few days, it's only been since the weekend, but we do fear it's going to have an impact.
The neighboring business owner said that he never saw anything suspicious and that the club kept tight security. That's exactly the problem. These operations hide in plain sight because we've normalized illegal activity in our communities. When strip clubs running human trafficking operations are considered quote-unquote normal parts of our community, we've lost our way in this society. The fact that this business operated openly with good neighbor status shows how normalized this criminal activity has become.
It didn't seem like they were being cloistered or held or anything like that. So I can't imagine. They said that there was human trafficking.
The car dealer told us Chicas Bonitas kept tight security and had been, in his word, good neighbors.
This raid comes at a time when ICE facilities are literally under attack. Just last Wednesday, 29-year-old Joshua John opened fire on ICE detention facility in Dallas, shooting 3 detainees. One person died that day, and just a few days ago, officials confirmed a second victim has died from his injuries.
Investigators say 29-year-old Joshua John opened fire at an ICE detention facility in Dallas, shooting 3 detainees. One person died that day, and just yesterday, officials confirmed a second victim has now died from his injuries.
Think about that for a second. While ICE agents are risking their lives to shut down human trafficking operations, their own facilities are being targeted by violent criminals. This is the environment our federal agents are working in. The people who died in that ICE facility shooting, they had extensive criminal histories too. They were here illegally, committing crimes against American communities. And when federal agents tried to do their job, somebody opened fire on them. This is the cost of sanctuary policies. This is what happens when local government refuses to work with ICE. This is what happens when we treat immigration enforcement like it's optional instead of mandatory. ICE says they're still processing the suspects from the raid and working to identify any victims of human trafficking. That means that this investigation is far from over, and that means that there are probably more criminal enterprises operating in Dallas right now. Special agent in charge said they're committed to eradicate vile individuals of sex trafficking from our local communities. That's the kind of language we need to hear more of, not comprehensive immigration reform or pathway to citizenship BS, but eradicating criminal enterprises that exploit vulnerable people. This operation represents something much bigger than just one strip club in Dallas. This is what happens when you have federal leadership that takes human trafficking seriously. This is what happens when agencies work together instead of being hamstrung by political correctness. When you see Homeland Security, ICE, local police, state troopers, U.S. Marshals, alcohol beverage control, and IRS criminal investigators all working together, that's not an accident. That is coordination. That is leadership. That is what America First law enforcement looks like.
Rolled up and it was filled. The whole Chicas Bonitas, which is about a 3/4 of an acre, maybe a full acre, filled with police cars and SWAT vehicles and unmarked vehicles, and all of them had their lights on and everything else.
The message is simple. If you're here illegally, especially if you're committing crimes, your time is up. If you're running criminal enterprises, we're coming for you. And if you're exploiting vulnerable people through human trafficking, you're going to face the full force of American law enforcement. This is why we need more operations like this. This is why we need federal agents who aren't afraid to do their job. This is why we need local law enforcement to cooperate with ICE instead of obstructing them. The people of Dallas deserve to know where their tax dollars are being used to protect them, not to enable criminal enterprise. They deserve to know that when a business in their community is breaking federal law, that there's going to be consequences. America, this is what real immigration enforcement looks like. After years of catch and release policies that allowed criminal organizations to operate with impunity, we finally have leadership that's serious about protecting American communities. The scenes we witness in Dallas might be dramatic, but they're also necessary. Every person arrested had the opportunity to come here legally. Every business owner had the opportunity to follow the law. Every criminal had the opportunity to choose a different path.
Well, Homeland Security says that $30,000 as well as business records were seized from Chicas Bonitas as part of their investigation.
For anyone worried about impact on business, good. Businesses don't rely on illegal labor and human trafficking to survive. Legitimate businesses that follow the law have nothing to fear from these operations. This is what America First law enforcement looks like. This is what happens when you put American communities first instead of protecting criminals. And this is exactly the kind of operation we need to see in every city across the country. The message is crystal clear. If you're exploiting vulnerable people, if you're here illegally committing crimes, if you're running criminal enterprises in American communities, your time is up. Justice is coming and it's wearing a badge. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.